Hello and welcome to the Coston Show. My name is Bethany Criswell.
And I'm Roland J. Coston Criswell.
And we're doing something a little different today. We are on site at Highmark's Caring Place in downtown Pittsburgh. And today we'll be sitting down to talk to Andrea Laurier and Therese Vorshek.
We're excited to be downtown at the Highmark Caring Place. So when we come back, please join us with Andrea and Therese.
Diagnosed, I was
doing typical stuff.
Basketball for fun,
football practice.
Mother of 2 young boys.
Took a blood test.
Kayla has leukemia.
Acute leukemia. Myeloma. Hodgkin's disease.
There's nothing worse in the world than this scared.
Who's going to take care of my kids?
I called the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Cancer needs a community. I know I'm not alone.
It's you who are the support.
It's giving people that hope.
With your help, I can be cured.
With your help, we can beat blood cancers.
Be there to give them hope.
To get or give help, go to lls.org.
Welcome back. I'm with Therese Vorshek, the director of the Caring Place. Hello, Therese.
Hi, Roland.
Thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
So you serve as director of the Caring Place?
I do.
Okay. And what capacity or what responsibilities do you fulfill?
Well, as I've been the director for over 10 years of the Caring Place, and what the Caring Place does is we provide programs and services for children and families who have had a death in their family. And so as the director, I oversee all of the services that we provide to the community.
When did the Caring Place begin?
The Caring Place started back in actually 1996, but we opened our first facility, which is where we're here today, in 1997, and we currently have 4 facilities now throughout the state of Pennsylvania in western and central Pennsylvania. We have this one here in downtown Pittsburgh. We also have another one in Cranberry, and we have one in Erie, Pennsylvania, and also out in the Harrisburg area.
Now, for lack of better words, is this the central location or the central office?
Well, I would say this was our first Caring Place, but in all of the locations that we serve, there's quite the need for this type of service for children who have had a family member die. And so, although this is, as I said, where we started, all 4 of our facilities are very robust in the programs that they're providing to the community.
I'm sure many people in our viewer audience didn't know that you have more than one location. Can you repeat to the viewer audience where those locations are?
Yes. In addition to our downtown location, we have a location in Cranberry, one in Erie, and one in the Harrisburg area.
Now, how does someone be referred to the Caring Place?
Families come to the Caring Place from a lot of different resources, including funeral homes, such as yours, from schools. We do a lot of work with school professionals to help them understand the impact of death on children, and so they can help their students know that the Caring Place is a place for them to come should they have a family member die. We get a lot of referrals from many different places in the community, from mental health professionals, from medical professionals, but so families come for us. Also, one of the biggest sources of referrals is from other families who have come to the Caring Place who have experienced our services.
If someone wanted to volunteer with the Caring Place, how would they get involved?
We have volunteers from all walks of life, and they have to be at least 21 years old to volunteer directly with the families. And to become involved, all they have to do is give us a call, and we can start the process. We do have a process for our volunteers and a training process that they have to go through. But all they need to do to get started is to give us a call, and we'll walk them through the process.
And what is the Caring Place's phone number?
So if families or anybody interested in volunteering would like to call us, they can call 888-224-4673.
And what is the web address?
Highmarkcaringplace.com, all one word, highmarkcaringplace.com.
Now, the location in downtown Pittsburgh, exactly where's that location located at?
We're at 620 Stanwyck Street.
Okay. And what's next for the Caring Place? Are there any upcoming events?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we have a very exciting event that's an annual event every November that's coming up in just a few months, and it's called Children's Grief Awareness Day. And the Highmark Caring Place started Children's Grief Awareness Day back in 2008, and it's an annual day of observance for to help raise awareness of the impact of death on children and their need for support. And it's also a day to help grieving children know that they're not alone in their grief.
Now, I saw that on your website. Is that a national initiative?
It actually is. As I said, we started it as a very local initiative, but it has really taken off and has grown across the United States, and we've even have had participation from as far away as Japan.
Wow, that's great. It's always good to see Pittsburgh companies and Pittsburgh nonprofits leading the way. For some of our viewing audience that may be from other cities and visiting Pittsburgh, are there similar programs that you all kind of work with nationally, or are there other models nationally that do exist?
Absolutely. There's wonderful grieving centers across the United States, and we can be a resource for anybody that's looking for something out of state. We partner with a lot of different grieving centers in other states, and we have their contact information, and if anybody should be in need of that, again, they can contact us and we can point them in the right direction.
Now, is there anything you would like to impress to our audience, or anything you want to share with our audience?
I think it's really important for people to know a couple of things. One is to understand that when a child has somebody in their family die, a family member die, it's really hard for them, and they often need some extra support. So if anybody knows of a family that has had a family member die, to give them the information of the Caring Place, to have them give us a call. And all of our services are offered at no cost to all of the families that come here. And so, we are a community service offered to anybody in the community. And although we are the Highmark Caring Place, you don't have to have Highmark insurance to come here. We are a community service. And again, everything we do is offered at no cost.
Well, that's great information to know. Thank you for sharing with us. I'm familiar with the Highmark Caring Place because the Allegheny County Funeral Directors and the Pennsylvania Funeral Directors, we have a unique relationship where you all support us. We host our meetings here.
That's right.
And we support you all through events like our golf outing.
Absolutely.
So it was great to join us today, Therese Vorchek from the Highmark Caring Place. And when we come back, we're going to have Andrea Laurier sit down with my wife to discuss some of the other things Highmark Caring Place are doing in the community.
I have a promise to be a doctor. I have a promise to be a chef.
Did you know that what children learn before kindergarten affects how well they will do in school and even what they might be when they grow up? Early education is so important to children's success in school and in life. Talking, reading, and playing with children from birth builds the language, math, and social skills they need to be ready for kindergarten. Choosing quality early learning programs like Keystone Stars, Pre-K Counts, Head Start, Early Intervention, Nurse-Family Partnership, and Parent-Child Home Program provides children with good teachers and learning activities that spark creativity and a love for learning so they can grow and develop. You can help Pennsylvania's young children reach their promise. To learn more, get involved, and tell your story, visit papromiseforchildren.com.
Because every child is Pennsylvania's future.
Hello and welcome back to the Coston Show. I am sitting here with Andrea Laurier of Highmark's Caring Place. And first thing I want to talk about is these beautiful blankets that are hanging all throughout this wonderful facility. Andrea, can you talk about the quilt project that you all have?
Sure.
That's an ongoing project?
Sure. I would say of all the things that happen at the Caring Place, making the quilts is one of the most memorable and profound experiences for families.
Okay.
What the children share with us is that when someone they love very much dies, they want so much to not lose the memories. They don't want to forget that person. They want to remember what their favorite color was and what they used to do together, and think about all the photographs. And so we decided we would have each family who came to the caring place make a quilt square in memory of the person who died.
Okay.
And so that is an opportunity for them as a family to share memories and put them down on these squares.
Okay. Can you walk us through the process that a family would take once they come to the caring place?
So what happens on a group night? I think the most important thing for families when they come to the caring place is to have that experience that they are not alone.
Okay.
Children are filled with such difficult feelings of grief when someone dies. And in the midst of those difficult feelings, they look around and don't know if there's anyone else who feels the same way. And so the whole program is designed so that the first time a child walks in with their family, they experience, oh my goodness, I'm not alone, I'm not the only one. So when they come to the caring place, the first room they go into is what we call our forum.
Okay.
And it is a very large room and has risers, and we put games out. There are many, many things that the families can do for the first hour when they're here. We have food together, we have dinner together.
That's always a plus.
It's a plus, and we have kid-friendly food, so it's pizza one meeting and hoagies the next.
Okay.
But that's just a place for kids to come in with their adults and realize that we're here as a community. The next room would be the rooms that are dedicated to each age range of children. So we have a room for the teenagers to be in, the middle school agers, the elementary, and then even the kindergarten and younger, because we work with children of all ages in the whole family. And when they're in those group rooms, they have a chance to be with their peers, really with kids who are their age, and have a chance to tell their stories to each other and support each other. The room we're in now is pretty much my favorite room. This is our family activities room. And this is a place where children can discover that you can have fun. And after a family member dies, I know many children struggle with, is it okay to lose myself in laughter and just play? Or is that somehow disrespecting the memory of my dad or my mom? But when they get in here, they realize, you know, it really is okay to have fun. We also have rooms for the adults to meet. The adults and caregivers have their own support room. And we have a room we call the expressions room, which the children have many other names for. The punching room, the room with the blue padding. But it's a place for children to go when they have such big feelings. They just feel like they need to use their whole body to get them out. And so they have a punching bag in there so the kids can express their big feelings in a safe way.
Can you let us know some of the benefits that grief support has for children?
You know, as I said a little earlier, I think the most important reason why we have grief support programming is because that feeling children and families get after a family member dies is that feeling of being alone. We do so well in supporting families immediately after a death. We all come together for funerals, and we bring food to the house, and we have all these rituals in our culture to get closer to families and provide that web of support. But what the families discover is over the course of the weeks and months later, everyone else kind of goes back to their regular lives. And for these grieving families, the journey is just beginning. And so it can feel very lonely and isolating. And so I think the benefit is that we want families to know that it's tough when someone dies. It's tough for children, and it's tough for the caregivers to find ways of supporting them. And so the most important thing is we want people to have a safe place to come and be able to be themselves, grieve in their own way and in their own time, and be surrounded by a community that is genuinely there to listen.
One great thing that I love about the caring place is that it's a family atmosphere. I know many times parents are so wrapped up in dealing with their own grief that a lot of times the children are left out. And so what I love is that you not only cater to the children, but there's also things here for the parents to benefit from as well.
I think you're absolutely right. I am so pleased that this is a family program. The best way to support children is to support their whole family, because in the weeks and days in between our meetings, really it's the family that needs to find a way to walk this journey. And so we often will have children tell us, I'm kind of glad that you're taking good care of my grandmother or my mother while I'm doing what I need to do, because they're worried about their caregivers as well. And so they all kind of get that relief knowing we're all getting taken care of here.
So your services definitely help ease the burden off of not only the children, but off of the parents as well. And I just want you to talk about, again, and reiterate to our viewers that these services are at no cost to families. And then also, I do know many times people may see the Highmark sign and they think, oh, well, maybe you have to have Highmark insurance to be able to come here. But just let our viewers know again and reiterate that these services are at no cost.
Well, you know, this is a Highmark program, and part of Highmark's mission is to strengthen the communities where we live. And so this is an issue. The issue of grieving children is very important to Highmark, and they wanted to give resources to the community to really give the community a really nationally recognized program to support the needs of grieving children. And so we do accept donations from the community, but the majority of funding does come from Highmark, and we want any child and family who can benefit from our services to be able to come here, and there is no cost. I would even say that we are a downtown program, and we do what we can to remove even the transportation barriers. For example, we pay for parking downtown. We pay for public transportation.
That's a great benefit to this program.
We want this to be available to our Allegheny County and the surrounding counties. So if families can get here, and this can be a helpful program, we want them to give us a call.
Okay. And just also to repeat that phone number, I wanted to ask, so when do families contact you? Like right after the funeral, or is it, should they wait sometime? When is the best time to actually reach out to the caring place to begin grief support?
That's a terrific question. And I would say there's no right or wrong answer. Some families will call us even before the person dies. So sometimes if I'm a mother and my husband has a life-threatening illness, I'm still trying to figure out how to support my child. How do I talk about this to my child? Do I tell my child? How much information? And so we'll often get calls at that point in a family's journey, and we try to support and give language and encouragement to the families as they're working with their children. Sometimes we get calls immediately after a death, sometimes months or even years later. So it's really when the family feels ready to call is the right time to call.
One of the very interesting facts that I read on your website is that 1 out of every 20 children experience the death of a parent before high school, or by the time they reach high school. So can you just expound on that about I never really even thought about it as far as, you know, someone, you know, in high school or a young person, you know, under the high school age, and they've lost their parents.
1 in 20, isn't that something?
I know, that is. It really breaks it down, and that's a high percentage, a high number for children to have to experience death of a parent, not just a loved one, but an actual mother or father. So,
yeah, I think you say it beautifully. That you know, when I speak to the community and I'm in a room full of people, or I'm talking to some teachers, it's a classroom, it's a soccer team. It's a Sunday school room. And as much as the children feel very alone and isolated and they don't know anyone personally often, when you look at the statistics, there really are many children out there who are grieving. And you're right, it doesn't include grandparents. And grandparents play an essential role in raising our children. It doesn't include brothers and sisters, or maybe a beloved uncle or cousin. And so when you actually will talk to children and say, has someone really important to you died, you'll get even a much higher number of children kind of raising their hand saying, yes, someone I love very much has died. And so this program is for all of those children. So if it was a family member that was important to the child, then that's a child whose grief we want to attend to.
Andrea, I'm going to ask you about the caring team.
Okay.
So can you talk about the caring team, let our listeners know?
Yeah, the Caring Team is a terrific program. I like to think of the Caring Team as extending some of the support that's usually inside the walls of the Caring Place out into the community.
Okay.
And so what we started was this idea of kids helping kids. And so we started to partner with the schools and local businesses and some of our local celebrities.
Okay.
Some of the Steelers have been involved over the years. And within the schools, they are wanting to support the students in the schools who are grieving and make the issue of grief something that can be talked about. And they will do many different things in the schools. Some of them are a lot of fun. There might be some activities around Children's Grief Awareness Day, which again is November 20th this year. One of the things we ask the schools to do is to have everybody wear blue that day, because blue is the color for Children's Grief Awareness Day. Other schools are doing fundraising, and it might be something like, I think one principal is allowing himself to be taped to the wall for $1 of duct tape. And so in a lot of fun and engaging ways, we're trying to get the issue out there. But even in a more sensitive way, what I'm also seeing the schools doing, they're putting up memory walls. And they're inviting everyone in the school to, you know, maybe someone in your life has died. Why don't you put the name of the person maybe on one of our Hope butterflies, and you know, creating this wall where it's saying in this school there is a culture where we are okay about talking about the difficult topic of death. We're willing to figure out and think about how do we support each other in the midst of loss and grief. And so we're hoping that this Caring Team idea really transforms the culture of the schools.
Okay, that's great. I do have a viewer question that came to us, and they wanted to know, what programs do you have for children who experience a parent or sibling death by suicide?
Well, suicide is a very, very difficult kind of loss, isn't it?
It is.
You know, for our program, we work with families where the death has been for any variety of reasons. We've had families come here because someone has died by suicide or homicide or a car accident or an illness. So what the families find is that even though the stories are different in some ways and how the person died is different, there's so many ways to find areas of commonality. Having said that, if families are looking for something more specific, like they really want to focus in on the fact that my person died by suicide and I want to look at that more closely, we can help them find some other resources to do that piece of work as well.
Okay, so you would do a referral?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's great to know. After this quick break, we'll be right back and wrap up our discussion with Highmark's Caring Place. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Coston Show. We hope you enjoyed all the great information that Highmark's Caring Place shared with us today. We look forward to seeing you on November 20th at the Children's Grief Awareness Day, and make sure you log on to Highmark Caring Place to find out more information about the event.
And Roland, Bethany, I just wanted to thank you so much on behalf of the Caring Place for the time you took to visit with us today so that we could all share information about the Caring Place to the community. And so we would like to present you with our very own Children's Grief Awareness Day shirt.
Very nice.
So that you can have your blue on
Yes.
on November 20th. So thank you.
Thank you
for your
so
time.
much.
Thank you. Catch us on November the 20th wearing blue in your community in support of the Children's Grief Awareness Day.
Bye.